Hey everybody, and welcome back to Arm Pitching Development. I'm high performance pitching coach Jace Beating, and this is another free video analysis. So something a little different today. I've got my new computer, which is fun, and then I'm trying to figure out some software that goes along with this. So excuse the different look, right? And appreciate all of you guys and all of the support over the years with Arm Pitching Development. It means a lot to me. And hopefully you guys are finding value in the content that I've been creating or shooting over the last few years. I do want to say that when we go through these pitching analysis videos that they're subjective to my personal viewpoint as a pitching coach. And I try to keep things fairly simplistic with the younger ages especially. I don't think there's much need to get too far with it, especially with a 9-year-old, which we'll be looking at today. Is nine-year-old named Derek. One thing before I get started, I have a copy of the new book that I wanted to share with you guys, a beginner's guide to baseball pitching. So I wrote this over the course of last year, and I wanted to share this with you. If you're interested in a copy, you can get this on Barnes & Noble or Amazon or other, various retailers. I don't know where all they send it out. But also, if you wanted the digital version, that you could get that on my PayHip account. And all those links are in the description. But in the book, what I wanted to say is that this is a fairly encompassing book with a lot of information and material for people that are just starting out to pitch or trying to learn how to pitch. So we dive into mechanics, we dive into arm care, arm health, we dive into biomechanics, kinetic chain, all sorts of fun stuff, pitching, synopsis. We cover different scenarios in pitching. So there's a ton of fun things behind this book. And then on top of that, it's also in a story format. So after the end of every chapter, there's a story that goes in that a child or an athlete can relate to in pitching in a moment of time, and how they brought about all the things that they learned in that chapter and how it helped them be successful in their game, right? So anyways, if you don't have a copy of this, you can grab one online or in the links below. And if you do pick up a copy, please let me know so I can say thank you. I appreciate that. And it helps me buy this new equipment and cameras and things that I'm unfamiliar with because I'm a baseball coach, right? Okay, so getting into the video, we're going to talk about some core points here. Okay, we'll be looking at today with Derek, good balance and posture, stride length and direction, arm action, arm angle and timing. Then we'll look at transition phase or efficient energy transfer from the hips, converting the energy from the hips, and then we'll do the throw, follow through, and deceleration components. And that's about all we'll look at really. Okay, so taking a look at Derek here, 9 years old. Start with the balance and posture position. All right, the video is not the greatest, but it'll be fine for today, I think. So what I look for in the balance posture position, I think this load height is pretty good. I like the posturing in the shoulders here. I think that's a positive. And in posturing, I'm saying like keeping your chest up and not hunched over your front side, but having a good strong posture. I do like to keep your chin over your abdominals, which I think is important. But what I'm saying on this video is I think Derek's doing a good job on his balance and posture. And what we want to see is everything going through or on the course direction of the target that we want to throw through. Eyes, shoulders, hips, ankles, knee, all this stuff is in the direction or in the line that we want to throw the baseball to. So I think this is a good pass, Derek. Good job, good setup on that. Let's continue on. So once we get into, this is a low balance break position, by the way. It's a little off from my take. One thing I would point out is the break line with the hand. The ball is kind of like facing upward versus maybe breaking and staying on top of the baseball, I think would be a little bit better. I'm not sure how that's going to get into position here, but that may be something that we want to look at or spend a little bit of time looking at. Let's go forward just a little bit more here. So we're heading into stride and separation. Good and bad. So like this back hip hinge here and the glute load and the quad load here, I think it's actually really good for a 9-year-old. My only caveat is that I think it may be a little bit of a stuck position where I feel like we want to get the hips out front just a little bit more. And then going back to that point where I'm talking about the baseball, right? I think the hand may be off to the side. So like when we're breaking, it looks like it's breaking like this versus like this to elevate upward. Again, this is just personal perspective, but I think in terms of health, the more we break out here, this way out, the more stress we're putting on the elbow joint potentially. So something to be cautious about. The glove hand at this point looks pretty good. I don't have anything negative to add to that or positive. I think it's fine. It's still on course direction, which is good. Stride length is one thing that usually I'll come in and get a measurement, like where the stride, how tall the athlete is, and then mimic that point down the hill. So we have an idea of stride length. And this line may be a little far, but what we want to strive for in my world is like 85 to 100%, depending on the athleticism of the athlete. So something to look for. The separation of the arms, I mean, this is like a big T position here. It's not wrong, it's just, I like to be a little bit more relaxed in the shoulders and the elbows and a little bit more bent as I'm trying to convert. This is me and my teaching style, but something to look for. We're gonna see the timing on this and see what it looks like, but I do like this heel lead here. I think that's good. It's keeping the hip into a good place here. So good job so far, Derek. All right, as we are in his separation, let's get to front foot landing. Okay, so one thing, the arm action looks a little early to arm spiral, maybe. Yeah, we'll give it a pass. All right, front foot lands pretty locked up, right? So that's a little heavier than a 45-degree angle. I want to try to clear this. Out a little bit. Try to get that knee to open up a little bit while he's staying back in his back hip here. These are advanced moves maybe for some guys at this age especially. One thing I want to look at is the glove hand, this curvature down. So usually what I see with younger athletes, when we let the glove hand start to dip down, then the left shoulder, the head, everything starts to follow the left side. It's for right-handed throwers. So something to consider is like when we come up, being a little bit stronger through the glove hand and then working through the glove. And the way I like to teach it is you have your elbow joint, and then when you bring your elbow to the side of you, like you're going to bring it, you don't let the hand drop lower than the elbow joint, and then you can pull in, but we don't want to drop it lower. Again, this is personal perspective. I have seen athletes or seen a different technique where guys will drive the glove hand into the quad and pull themselves forward. Again, do what you want to do out there with that. This is just simply my take on the matter. So the arm action and scap looks pretty good. Scap load there looks pretty good. And we're still, I think, staying in a pretty good position in the back hip. So good and things to work on, right? All right, and then as we go to convert, so it looked like he was having a little bit of a hard time clearing that hip out, but he's really not. And then the glove hand isn't terrible. So when we talk about energy transfers right here, and surprisingly enough, I mean, he does a really good job squaring the hip out here. the right hip. I actually like that. And then you can see like the toe rotates, or the foot rotates out towards that way too. And then the upper half rotates out here. So that actually looks really good. And then the toe squared out a little bit better as it converts. And sometimes the angles that I have aren't always the best view, but and I do like this elevated elbow position here. I actually think that's really good for a 9-year-old. This position looks really strong. One thing I would think of is stride length maybe a little bit short, and we may want to make this more at a 120 degree. This degree looks a little bit strong for me, right? And then when you go into blocking after the conversion, let me double check something real quick. So I think he could stride out a little bit further, honestly, especially as strong as he's being with the handling of this position. Okay, let's go through throw here for a second, and then start to see how like the left side's drooping down over here, like pulling back that way. It's more of a roll to the left, right, where that hip isn't really converting in, just a little bit more thorough. Let's look at the hand position here. So like the throw is definitely over the front side, the front foot, which is good. So when I draw those lines at like looking at the triangle, throwing triangle, this looks pretty good. The only thing I'd like to see maybe a little bit more length through the stride, and then a little more trunk engagement going forward, a little bit lower release end, but this is not really bad at all for a 9-year-old. I actually think this is pretty strong. The head movement seems to be going off course a little bit here. You see the head kind of yanking this way, and then my guess is that this hip isn't going. What I'd like to see is this hip convert down and this shoulder convert down this way, the right shoulder convert in, but I have a tendency to think that it won't do that, just because of how unflexible the front hip looks. Okay, so we got throw. Now we head into throw and deceleration. See this little short arm position here, right here, right here. So it's kind of like putting the load of the throw into the end, into the deltoid, the side delt, instead of like being loose, long, and limber, and cushioning the blow to the back side where your lat is and your upper back. I think would be a little bit better position to be in, and let this hip kind of convert and be a little bit more rotated on the inside while we're going through our target. I'll put some pictures up for you that'll give you a high performance view of it. So as we continue, watch the front foot come up, guys, right there. So now it becomes like a push throw and a catapult or a pole vault into the catcher, versus letting the hips kind of work down and around. And what I like to think about is like when your front foot lands, you take a staple gun or something and we're driving a nail down, so your foot no longer can lift off of the ground, and then we let everything else work over and around that left hip for right-handed throwers. I think would be a little bit better. So all this, I want to roll forward this way and stay in the target longer. But again, we're talking about a 9-year-old, guys, right? So like, hey, at 9 years old, do you throw strikes? That's awesome. You're gonna probably win games. But anyways, I think there's a few things. I mean, the deceleration's a little bit soft for me right here. It's definitely putting a little tension and more than we want in that shoulder and arm. Some things to work on, Derek. Hey, if you guys are interested in submitting a video, send it to me on email in the email address that I've got in the video. And then also make it a horizontal video, and I do not need slow motion, right? Just take a couple of videos, or one video of a few pitches is plenty. And then send it over to me, and then I'll get to them as fast as I can. Usually it's been about one a week right now, just because of my college schedule and then my training schedule. Anyways, I've got a lot going on with all the things. So I'm on a field a lot, and then I'm in the gym and facility a lot training. So anyways, give me a little bit of time with these. I'm knocking them out as fast as possible. And then if you could show a sign of support for the channel and hit the like button on the video, and hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. One other thing I want to give you guys, that we'll be doing a podcast series where I interview different coaches all across the country with different viewpoints and different perspectives on not just pitching, but maybe a holistic approach or a bigger viewpoint to baseball in general. So something fun to look out for in the channel as well, and maybe just different videos that I put out here and there. But anyways, I appreciate all you guys. That's a wrap for tonight, and until I shoot the next video or do the next video, I'll see you guys next time.